The first one, what will be the toughest thing for a new quarterback coming in? Talking about Jordan Love, obviously. What would be the toughest thing for a quarterback coming in, albeit he's 3 years into the system? The toughest thing about coming in for Jordan Love, there's a handful of things, right? The first is you're the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, have been 30 years of Hall of Fame play, and you got to live up to that. Like there's a burden on your shoulders that um, we can dismiss it. He can talk around it. Listen, 30 years of Hall of Fame play. You're the next guy up. That is it. If you're an athlete, you're saying, okay, I embrace that, but there is pressure there. You got to figure out how to deal with that. You got to figure out how to deal with the media and all everything that comes with being QB1. Now, being in Green Bay is way easier than being in New York City or being in Los Angeles. Like you're not in a media. I think the media does a pretty good job of protecting players. In other words, I think they'll give them the benefit of the doubt more often than not. On the field, I think this offense is going to be extremely user friendly. I think the Shanahan offense, that tree, has proven to be extremely user friendly. Matt LaFleur has had the pleasure of working with a Hall of Fame quarterback who's an offensive mastermind in his own right, in Aaron Rodgers. So now you're going to see Matt LaFleur's offense, which I think is probably catered to a less talented or less experienced quarterback. So I think we're going to see a lot of, we've talked about it, keep passes, play action, a lot of quick decisions, a lot of things at the line of scrimmage as far as quick throws. They're going to play to his strengths. I mean, these guys are in there thinking right now, how do we make this kid look good? Right? Not how much can we give him? How can we make him look good? So it just really comes down to it's the gravity of the situation. You spent your whole life dreaming about being the quarterback of the Green Bay damn Packers. You were the quarterback of bro, you're the quarterback of the Green Bay. You get to play in 1265 Lombardi Avenue and Lambeau Field, 8 or 9 games a year. And there is nothing better in the football world than doing that. And you're the quarterback. What are you going to do about it? That's the question that he's got to answer every day. I think all the other stuff, he's got the physical traits. He's a hard worker. He seems to be a great locker room guy. But the gravity of being where you wanted to be your entire life and having to deal with that and having to deal with all those expectations, we'll see how quickly he can get past kind of that's a roadblock that it might take a while. Second question about Josh Myers. A lot of Josh Myers questions, guys. A lot of Josh Myers questions. Josh has to live with being drafted one spot in front of All-Pro Creed Humphrey, the center for the Chiefs. Kid's unbelievable, right? Could have had him. We have Josh Myers. Creed Humphrey's right now, he's a better player. No question about it. Just ask you optimistic about Myers turning things around. We talked about this a little bit last week. Yeah. Look, people have bad seasons. I know. Believe me. You could turn things around. What happens is when you have a bad season, you have to figure out why. And what the NFL doesn't do a great job of, quite frankly, I'm talking about players, I'm talking about organizations, is they don't always figure out why. And let's just keep it real simple. What changed from year 2 to year 3 with you? Well, year 2, you had one coach. That coach became coordinator. You have another coach. That changed. Did it change for the better or the worse? I don't know. I just know that it changed. And I know that I think Adam Stenavich was an exemplary offensive line coach. And I think they underperformed last year. You can draw whatever conclusions you want. I don't know anything about their methodology, what they talk about in the meeting rooms. I'm just telling you what I saw and giving you my opinion. Technically, he has good feet at times, but he has poor, inconsistent footwork. Your footwork is the base level requirement for being a good offensive lineman. So if your footwork's not automatic and consistent, efficient, accurate, you are not going to be the player you want to be. If you fix that and you hold yourself, in other words, if you're holding yourself to these standards, there's no reason you don't have a bounce back here. There's no reason you don't. Everybody thought you were next coming Corey Lindsey, myself being one of them. Same school, same body type. There's no reason you're not that guy. You have everything you need to be that guy. You just have to go out there and take what you want. Question 3, your thoughts on Matt LaFleur since he's taken over? I think this is a very unfair question. Not to ask it, but you have Aaron Rodgers, and it's like, yeah, I mean, listen, it's like Bruce Arians gets Tom Brady, they win a Super Bowl. Like, it's not, Bruce Arians been a good coach since forever, right? He was a good coach when he had Carson Palmer in Arizona. He was a good coach when he had Jameis, but he didn't win a Super Bowl until he got Tom Brady, because Tom Brady's greatest of all time. Aaron Rodgers is somewhere on that Mount Rushmore conversation. So it's hard to say how good Matt LaFleur is. And I think this is what's kind of interesting about this season is you're really going to see what culture he actually has for this team, because you don't have that monster influence in a Hall of Fame quarterback. And the one thing that we have seen is defensively, with the tackling we talked about, some offensive inconsistencies. Sometimes, and this is not limited to the Green Bay Packers, but sometimes during the season, or we see carryover in underperformance in certain areas from season to season, from week to week, whatever you want to look for the timeline. Like, we're not getting better in some areas and it doesn't make sense. Or we make mistakes or underperform in some situations and you don't understand why. Maybe it's a group, maybe it's an individual, maybe it's a philosophy. We have to figure that out. And I think we're going to do a better job. I think as pundits for football, ex-players, fans to a certain extent, you look at this and you go, okay, the gloves are off a little bit, right? Like, you're pulling the curtain back now. If Vamper's not wearing clothes, you're going to see it, because you don't have that guy that can change the play at the line of scrimmage, can do all these wonderful things. You saw a little bit of it when Devontae Adams left. And now you're going to see even more of it with Aaron gone. So that could be exactly what a guy like Matt LaFleur needs to be able to take complete ownership of the offense and make it his own and have a special, maybe he has a 49ers like special offense. Like, we certainly have the personnel to think that might be possible. But as you look at the broader landscape and the totality of our special teams always being ranked low until Keyshawn Nixon shows up, our defense having 7 first-round picks and underperforming, you start looking at this stuff, and I don't know if that has if Aaron Rodgers has that effect on the team, or if that's something, the culture we need to fix. This is a question that Amon and I have talked about ad nauseum, and I'm sure we'll talk about more during the season. But I think the jury's still out. I think this is the first, the short answer is I think this is the first year that we really get a good look at what that looks like, a truly coach-led team with Matt LaFleur being the leader on that offense and defense. This is a great question here. Number 4, where do you rank the Packers up front on both sides of the ball? And I had to sit here and kind of think about this. I think offensively, because assuming David Bakhtiari is healthy, he is such a special player that he's a kind of guy that just automatically elevates the play of everybody around him. And then you've got Elgin Jenkins, who's a high-level guard. And now you've got a couple question marks. I think John Runyon Jr. is a solid right guard. I don't think he's I don't know if he's up for any postseason awards at the end of the year, but I think he's a solid starter in the National Football League for sure. You got 2 positions. You got a toss-up at the right tackle, Yashar Tom. Myers having a bounce-back year. The Green Bay Packers are not going to be as good as the Detroit Lions up front. They don't have the personnel. They're not going to be as good as they're not going to be as good as the Browns. They're not going to be certainly as good as the Eagles. They're probably not going to be as good as the Cowboys. The Ravens. They could be like the Ravens. They could be like the Falcons. Believe it or not, as good as the 49ers offense is, I don't think the 49ers have a great offensive line. I think Trent Williams is unbelievable. But I don't think the rest of them they're not world beaters. I think they're well coached. They run a great scheme. They have good players around them. So in that context, I think the Green Bay Packers could be, top 10, top 12, top 13. Some of these guys have to make that leap, though. Your center has to be able to get people in the right positions, execute when you have to single block, dominate when you get a double team. It's really that easy. Can you do that? It's not a simple thing. It's simple, but It's actually a simple requirement, but it's not easy to do. And if you got a guy that can do it, then it's going to really change the makeup of that line. I think they're better than the Bengals. Now you start looking at some of these lines and you go, how good are these teams because of who they have around them, and how good are these lines really? Like the Eagles are. You put anybody in Philly's backfield, wide receiver, they're good. They're just really, really good. You can't say that with every team.